Comparison between greenhouse Phalaenopsis and wild Phalaenopsis. Differences in color, size, and adaptability. Phalaenopsis orchids, commonly known as moth orchids, are among the most popular and beloved orchids worldwide. However, not all Phalaenopsis are the same. They can either be cultivated in controlled greenhouse environments, greenhouse Phalaenopsis, or grow naturally in the wild Phalaenopsis. These two varieties differ significantly not only in their habitats but also in their flower color, size, ease of care, and adaptability. This article will provide an in-depth comparison of the key differences between greenhouse-grown and wild Phalaenopsis, giving a clear understanding of both types of orchids. 1. Flower color. One of the most noticeable differences between greenhouse Phalaenopsis and wild Phalaenopsis is their flower color. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis, due to controlled cultivation and selective breeding, greenhouse Phalaenopsis often display a wide range of vibrant and diverse colors. Orchid breeders can create unique shades, such as pure white, soft pink, deep purple, red, yellow, and even orchids with spots or stripes. The color of greenhouse Phalaenopsis flowers is often brighter and more intense compared to their wild counterparts, as the ideal growing conditions encourage full flower development. Wild Phalaenopsis. The colors of wild Phalaenopsis are generally more subtle and less varied than those of greenhouse-grown orchids. As their natural habitats, wild Phalaenopsis typically display softer tones, such as white, pale yellow, light pink, or delicate lavender. Their colors are less vivid because these orchids have adapted to blend into their natural surroundings rather than stand out for ornamental purposes. So while less flashy, wild Phalaenopsis possess a natural and understated beauty that appeals to many orchid enthusiasts. 2. Size of plant and flowers. Another major distinction between these two types of orchids is their size, both in terms of the plant itself and the flowers. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis. In a controlled greenhouse environment, Phalaenopsis orchids tend to grow larger than they would in the wild. Their leaves can reach lengths of 20 to 30 cm, 8 to 12 inches or more, with broad, sturdy foliage. The flowers are typically larger, with individual blooms often spanning 10 to 12 cm, 4 to 5 inches in diameter. Optimal care practices, such as specialized fertilizers and pest control, contribute to the impressive size of greenhouse Phalaenopsis. Wild Phalaenopsis. In contrast, wild Phalaenopsis are generally smaller in both plant and flower size. These orchids grow in dense tropical forests where they compete with other plants for resources like light, water, and nutrients. As a result, their leaves are usually shorter, and their flowers tend to be smaller, measuring about 5 to 7 cm, 2 to 3 inches in diameter. Though more modest in size, wild Phalaenopsis have a delicate and natural charm. 3. Habitat and adaptability. So the environments in which greenhouse and wild Phalaenopsis grow are vastly different, affecting their adaptability and growth habits. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis. These orchids are grown in highly controlled conditions, including stable temperatures, humidity levels, and light exposure. Greenhouses are typically kept at temperatures between 1825 to 6470 Celsius, with high humidity, around 60 to 70%, and indirect light. In these ideal conditions, greenhouse Phalaenopsis thrive without the stresses found in the wild, such as pests or extreme weather. However, when moved to less controlled environments, such as a typical home or garden, greenhouse Phalaenopsis may struggle to adapt to sudden changes in temperature, humidity, and light levels. Wild Phalaenopsis, on the other hand, are accustomed to fluctuating natural conditions. They grow in tropical rainforests, where temperatures can rise during the day and drop at night, and humidity levels and light exposure change throughout the day. These orchids often grow on trees, where they receive filtered sunlight and moisture from the air. As a result, wild Phalaenopsis have developed a greater ability to withstand changes in environmental conditions. While they are more resilient in their native habitats, cultivating them outside of the wild can be challenging, as they require a more specific microclimate to thrive. 4. Ease of care. For those interested in growing orchids, the level of care required can be a significant factor in deciding between greenhouse or wild Phalaenopsis. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis, because they are cultivated in a controlled environment. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis are generally easier to care for, so they are bred to adapt well to indoor conditions, making them popular choices for orchid beginners. These orchids don't require strong direct sunlight and can thrive with moderate care, including maintaining proper temperatures, watering schedules, and occasional fertilization. However, they are more sensitive to environmental changes and can quickly suffer if exposed to extreme conditions. Wild Phalaenopsis can be much more challenging to grow, especially outside their native habitats. They require high humidity, good airflow and indirect sunlight, which are difficult to replicate in most home environments. Successfully cultivating wild orchids demands patience, knowledge of their natural conditions, and careful attention to detail. However, for experienced orchid growers, the reward of successfully growing wild Phalaenopsis is the satisfaction of nurturing a rare and exquisite plant. 5. Aesthetic and commercial value. The aesthetic and commercial value of greenhouse Phalaenopsis and wild Phalaenopsis differ, reflecting their popularity and rarity. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis, because they are mass-produced and easy to grow, greenhouse Phalaenopsis are widely available and more affordable. They are often sold in grocery stores, florists, and garden centers, making them accessible to a broad audience. Their large, colorful blooms and relative ease of care make them ideal for decorative purposes, from home decor to gifts and special events. Commercially, greenhouse Phalaenopsis hold a high aesthetic value, but are generally more common. Wild Phalaenopsis, due to their rarity and the difficulty of cultivation, have higher commercial value for collectors and orchid enthusiasts. Their natural, unique beauty and scarcity make them highly prized among serious orchid growers. However, they are not as readily available as their greenhouse counterparts and are often sold at a premium. Many collectors value wild Phalaenopsis for their authenticity and the challenge of growing a plant that closely resembles its wild ancestors. Ano folk, asi moi kolin, sing to share deru, and their ancestor, blind, big collectors would need to swim wild. 6. Hybridization. Hybridization is a crucial process in orchid cultivation, leading to the development of new varieties with diverse colors, sizes, and shapes. Greenhouse Phalaenopsis hybridization is common in greenhouse-grown orchids and are relatively easy to accomplish due to the controlled environment. Breeders can create new orchid varieties with desirable traits, such as larger flowers, more vibrant colors, or increased resistance to certain growing conditions. The ability to manipulate the orchid's genetics in a greenhouse setting has led to a vast array of hybrid Phalaenopsis orchids that cater to different aesthetic preferences and growing conditions. Wild Phalaenopsis hybridization in wild Phalaenopsis is a natural and slower process, often occurring without human intervention. In the wild, orchids cross-pollinate naturally, resulting in unique variations that may not be found in greenhouse hybrids. While breeding wild Phalaenopsis is more difficult, these natural hybrids are highly prized for their uniqueness and the unpredictable beauty of their flowers. Each wild orchid is often a one-of-a-kind specimen, making them particularly appealing to collectors. Conclusion. The differences between greenhouse Phalaenopsis and wild Phalaenopsis are evident in their flower color, size, adaptability, ease of care, and commercial value. Each type of orchid offers its own advantages and challenges, making them suitable for different kinds of orchid enthusiasts. For those seeking easy-to-care for plants with striking flowers, greenhouse Phalaenopsis is an excellent choice. However, for collectors and experienced growers who appreciate the natural beauty and rarity of wild orchids, wild Phalaenopsis represents a rewarding but demanding endeavor. Both types contribute to the rich diversity of the orchid world, each offering unique experiences and beauty to those who cultivate them.